Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
The value of record keeping in research. Lecture number 12. Now, I will emphasize why keeping a good record is important in this lecture. I'll give you several examples where lot of problems could be solved because everything was written by the research scholar in his logbook. And this logbook or record keeping book is a must. When a student comes to do research, date wise he has to write the activity that he has done per day and any reaction if he has put 3 different times, what were the parameters that he used, how much of heating, how much. So all the details are enlisted in that record book, date wise, time wise, because sometimes there could be a legal issue where these record books could be of great value. So let us understand the value of record keeping in research and in a little more elaborate manner. Good record keeping is central to the scientific process. Good research records encompasses much more than just research data. They include but are not limited to planning and protocol descriptions, data manipulation and analysis procedures, personal and group interpretations of the results, and important communications and group discussions among collaborators. So it has many facets. It's not just for keeping the reaction time and reaction details, but it also means that many other information as and when that day's activity the scholar is supposed to enlist in that record book. Good record keeping in research is essential for ensuring the integrity, reproducibility, and credibility of scientific work. So it is because one is having a good record keeping habit as a research scholar, it is that anybody in the laboratory at a later period of time, if he or she wants to reproduce that results by doing that reaction again, it can be followed from his notebook. Also, it is a kind of raw data where scientific work that has been actually conducted by the scholar is enlisted. So that is why record keeping is a must. And if one does not pay attention to this, that okay, I will write it at the end of the week, the whole week's activity, you may tend to forget many little things which are important for the reaction. So even before setting up any reaction in the laboratory, the first thing you have to write what is the reaction that you are doing, what are the ingredients you have taken, how much of each of the ingredients you have taken, what is the temperature at which you did the reaction, how much time did you allow the reaction to go, how many times you monitored, did you take any thin layer chromatography in between to monitor the reaction. You can actually stick the pre-coated TLC plates in your record book just to make a reference point at any time later when you want to repeat the reaction. You can refer to that process very easily. This is a slide which I have taken from SlideShare. Why is record keeping important? It is for legal protection, memory, communication aid, legal requirement, that is OSHA, professional standard of practice, insurance requirement, and discharge decisions. That means tomorrow, if somebody claims from anywhere in Germany that he did this reaction before you did, and maybe he was able to facilitate the entire process faster and was able to publish, but the first reaction that you put, you can claim the IPR as well as you can have a legal protection. So it is in a way a kind of a good habit that every researcher should have while setting up this process, while getting into the research journey. And if you do not do this, at a later stage, you may get into trouble. If there is any legal requirement, they will ask for document. Where will you show that you had noted down in your record book? If you have noted down with date, you can prove that yes, in 2024 you did this reaction first, and he has done the reaction in 2026, which is much later, and therefore you are the claimant of the IPR and not he. So many issues are there because you cannot foresee everything in the beginning when you start your research journey. It is only as you go along there could be some problems arising which can lead to situations which require either legal or requirement or legal protection, or they can have insurance requirement, who will ensure that who has done it first, and so on and so forth. So you see, record keeping at any time is one of the best practices that a research scholar should get from day one. Because if you have not done any reaction, even then you write, today no reaction was put, finish. So daily keeping a logbook is a far better option than not writing, or writing at the end of the week or at the end of the month. You will definitely not be able to recall all the things that you have done, whether you have dried the solvent. So at least you know that the solvent that was dried for the reaction was very recent. It was not old that you use some, because in our kind of climatic condition where there is so much of humidity and oxygen and everything in the atmosphere, there is all the possibility of the solvent getting bad. Key benefits for good record keeping: reproducibility of results and integrity and accountability, which means that if tomorrow you want to do that reaction again, if you have noted down, then detailed record allows other researchers and even yourself or the original researcher at a later date to replicate experiments and verify findings. It ensures that the scientific process remains transparent and reliable. And proper documentation supports ethical research practices by providing evidence of how data was collected, analyzed, and interpreted. It protects against accusation of data fabrication or misconduct. So, in the last lecture, we were talking about the research ethics. It is actually preventing or substantiating us for following the research ethics. And this is also good record keeping is a protection from any kind of accusation that the data has been fabric, because you can show that this is the TLC that I took on Friday last, and this is the TLC that I have taken today, and they both are matching. That means the reaction is proceeding repeatedly in the same manner under the same condition. So those kind of accusation or misconduct can be overruled if you have proper data with you. Key benefits from good record keeping: intellectual property protection. Accurate records such as lab notes can serve as legal evidence in patent application or disputes over interventions or inventions and discoveries. Continuity of research. Good records help ensure continuity when a project is taken over by a new researcher or team member, minimizing delays in miscommunication. Publication and reporting. High quality record keeping facilitates accurate and complete reporting of methods and results in scientific papers, presentation, and reports. So, what it means is that it not only helps in intellectual property protection, that yes, you have done this work because it is already noted down in your lab note. Also, if somebody else from the research group wants to repeat the reaction, he has an access from your lab note that he can do that without any delay or any confusion. And also, when you are reporting this as a research paper, as a publication, then high quality record keeping definitely facilitates the complete and accurate reporting of methods and results in the scientific papers or presentation. Often I tell my students that this practice is to be done from day one. Whether or not every day you have put the reaction or not, open your notebook and by the end of the day, put the date. By the end of the day, all that you have done during the day, whether you have just simply dried the sample, or you have only gone to the inventory to get the chemical, or you have just weighed the chemical and kept everything ready for the next day, everything should be noted down so that day wise a logbook is maintained and there is no problem. There are later on you will realize that there are huge benefits of good record keeping. Regulatory and funding compliance. Many institutions and funding agencies require meticulous documentation as part of grant conditions or audits. It helps in meeting good laboratory practices, that is GLP, and other regulatory standards. So all those funding bodies who are actually giving us fund, sometimes they also ask for this, that what did you do with this money? If a chemical is purchased, how many tenders were taken, how much material did you order, and are you going to use all of that? Was it consumed? Especially if it is a costly item, then definitely there are questions asked, because every money, whether it is government funding money or institutional money or the research scholar's own stipend money or the money that he gets for his research, is accountable. To be able to give that accounting, a good record keeping is a must. Efficiency and time management. Organized records make it easier to locate data track progress, and plan future experiments, saving time and resources. So, if you have written down that you did this experiment 4 times in 4 different conditions, and you came to a conclusion that the fourth one was better than the first, second, third. Now, that inference you have written down at the end. Tomorrow, when you will not be there in the lab, if suppose somebody else has to do, he will only refer to the fourth condition of the reactions and will repeat the reaction. So that is also, it is helping in time management and efficiency. No need to repeat all the 4 methods by the new researcher, because he will be just wasting time, and the result will still be that only the first one was the correct one. So what it means is that, in every way, from the point of view of money, time, energy, resources, everything, good record keeping really, really helps. Education and training serves as a learning tool for students and junior researchers by documenting procedures, troubleshooting, steps, and scientific reasoning. So, what it means is that when we are students and junior researchers, this documentation procedures always help us in later times when we have to give some kind of scientific reasoning. We say that we had done 4 times. First time the variable parameter was temperature. The second time the variable parameter was that it was done in nitrogen, under nitrogen condition. And the third time it was done at low temperature, and so on and so forth. So you have actually categorized your research reaction into 4 different parameters and then come to a conclusion. That is only because you did a good research planning and you did a good record keeping. Data management. Data management is a subset of a broader concept of research record keeping. Research records are important for managing and planning research, for replicating results, for documenting collaborations, for publishing and peer review, and for complying with governmental and institutional rules and regulations. So, in many ways, keeping records is very, very beneficial. And whether you have to replicate the result or you have to document the collaboration. Now, maybe I was collaborating with a postdoctoral fellow and he wrote in his logbook, but I forgot to write in my logbook or record book. And then his tenure got over and he left. So now I am at a loss that I have not written that reaction. Now I am sending an email to him or making a WhatsApp call to him saying, okay, give me this procedure as soon as possible. I am supposed to repeat it again. So all those things can be saved if I have kept my records intact and I am not dependent on anybody else. As an individual, if 4 people are doing the same reaction, even then all the 4 should write in their logbook. It should be easily accessible. That is what it means. Because you see, your research is your research. Your interdependency on the postdoc fellow is not required. Only till his help, only till his consultation, only till his, because he would be definitely wiser than you, having better understanding of the subject. All that help you can always take. but every time make a note of any special point that is told to you. And unless and until you make your own documentation, which you can refer at any point of time, you will not be very confident of your own data management. So that is what it means by data management. Data management in research refers to the systematic handling of data collected during a research project. From planning and collecting to organizing, storing, analyzing, and sharing it. Effective data management ensures that data are accurate, secure, accessible throughout the research life cycle. So, whether you are gone from the lab, these notebooks are left with the guide so that in the due course of time, if somebody else wants to do any research pertaining to that, he or she can do it by referring to your logbook. And I will give you another example. There was a student in a chemistry laboratory who used to keep the records very correct, and he published a paper. Now, somebody in Poland wanted to repeat that and were not getting the same results. So they wrote to the guide saying, well, this reaction shows that it is giving this much result, but when we are repeating, we are not getting the product itself. Now, this was very alarming to the guide. And so what he did, he asked the student that you please repeat it in front of me once again. And he was closely monitoring, but the reaction took place. And because he had noted down in his record book, he turned that page and did exactly the way he had done earlier and published. So they were very confident. They took all the spectra, everything, shared with that Poland person, and they also gave the photocopy of photo of that screenshot of that page of that record keeping logbook to show that the reaction was exactly done in this manner. And there he had clearly written that he had used dry acetonitrile as the solvent, whereas in the research paper he forgot to write that word dry, and they were doing under normal acetonitrile condition, and acetonitrile has substantial moisture, and that was not allowing the reaction to go. And rightly so, when the Poland research group did it with dry acetonitrile, the reaction went to success and they got the same result. So what it means that everything should be very carefully written. Why I told this story? It's not a story. It's a real issue that happened, and it happens in many laboratories, that you write it in your logbook, but you forget to write in your research paper because it just slips off your mind that that dry solvent was so important in this particular case, and in many other cases also. Such little details which we note down in the record book can be of very significant value. Now, this is a very interesting slide where I have shown that research data management, this I have sourced from University of Würzburg, Germany. So you have a planning of research, data collection, processing and analyzing data, publishing and sharing data. Then we have a fact called preserving data, and which can be subsequently reusing the data. So you see, if you have made a good record book, if you have managed your data very well, this is the cycle in which it can go on and on for years. One batch of PhD scholars can do, and if they have to repeat the same reaction to make something else, this time, second time, third time, they are making something else. So every time they have to make the starting material. Now that starting material has to be made in bulk, and therefore the process has to be completely, standardized. And when the process is completely standardized, it assures that the reaction is going to take place very efficiently and will be done in a very good manner. So what it means is that every time you are writing down, it is not a waste of time. It is like you are preserving the data for reusing the data, and it helps in your planning of research at a later date. Key benefits of data management. Data planning involves creating a data management plan, which is called DMP, before the research begins. Defines how data will be collected, stored, used, and shared. Required by many funding agencies like NIH, EU, Horizon, etc. They ask for data. Sometimes the publisher will ask, where is the supplementary data? Please provide. So immediately you have to send all the IRs and the NMRs and the mass modified. As what you have received, the same thing you have to pass it on to them. Data collection ensures data is collected consistently, ethically, and in accordance with approved protocols. Use standardized formats and validated instruments. Record metadata, that is, data about data, including date, method, conditions, and tools that have been used. Data organization. Store data in structured formats, that is, either in spreadsheets, which can be generated with the help of Excel or databases. Use consistent file naming conventions and folder structures. Maintain version control and keep backup of all data set. Because when we are relying on the logbook can only get old. And if it is written in a legible handwriting, it can be preserved for years. But sometimes if you are collecting the data or you are managing the data on the computer, the versions get different. There could be a virus infection. So sometimes the quick heal will work, sometimes it will not work. And suddenly one fine morning, you will find the whole system has crashed. All your data will be gone. So it is important to keep backups in this case. That means the same data you keep accumulating in some other hard disk, or you keep it in 2-3 computers or in pen drives in parts, so that you have a backup for all this data. Data storage and security. Store data securely using institutional servers, cloud storage with encryption, or external hard drives. I just now mentioned that. Limit access to sensitive data through password protection and user permissions. Ensure regular backups to prevent data loss. So here one has to remember always that backup has to be taken very regularly. Data analysis. Ensure transparency in data processing, including documentation of software, codes, and statistical methods. Validate and clean data before analysis to maintain accuracy. Data sharing and reusing. Share data in repositories like Dryad, Zenodo with proper documentation and licensing. Comply with open data policies and ethical consideration, especially for personal or sensitive data. Of course, data sharing and all that, your institute's computer department can help you and assist you. Not everything is known to us if we are from a different research field. But then, at least while learning data management, you should know that there is such a facility that can be availed. Data archiving and preservation. Long-term storage of data set for future reference or reuse. Ensure data remains accessible, readable, interpretable years after the project ends. So it is like securing it for the lifetime. And that is a must in today's time because you never know when you need to go back to that. Even after 10 years, suppose if you want to repeat a reaction, you will need to understand and go back to that data where you had noted down and you can access it and do the reaction exactly in the same manner. Helps in claiming the IPR. Now, data management or good record keeping, I just now told a while ago when we started this lecture that it helps in protecting and claiming the intellectual property right, which is IPR. In recent decades, legal and regulatory uses of research records have become prominent. Research records have long been used to resolve intellectual property disputes. However, research misconduct scandals in the 1980s and 1990s involving falsification and fabrication of research records provoked the federal government to require universities to implement research misconduct policies. So many such issues were happening. Who is claiming? Who is the real claimant of the IPR? Others are claiming it. How do we resolve this? Many such cases came up in 1980s and 1990s. Researchers became too, they wanted to go faster in life. They were too progressive and they were too excited about research. And so when you are overwhelmed, not in the right sense, but when you want to overshadow, then you try to adapt unfair means. And that is what led to falsification and fabrication. Examination of research records in a central feature of inquiries and investigation under such university policies. The current environment for research training, where a graduate student or a postdoctoral fellow is usually a part of a large research group, encourages the teaching of record keeping practices to new researchers by peers rather than the senior group leader. So, in today's time, it is very, very important to protect your IPR. If suppose you have originated a research idea, it's not your guide's idea, it is not your senior's idea in the research group, you are the originator of that research plan, then that intellectual property right comes to you. So you have to keep confidentiality about it and be aware and make a notation in your logbook. Modern way of record keeping. Modern research has evolved significantly with the integration of digital tools and technology. These advancements have transformed traditional pen and paper record keeping into more efficient, secure, and collaborative system. Of course, still I will recommend that paper and pen record keeping is a must. Whether you are applying any modern method or not is secondary. But making your own record book is most essential part of a researcher's journey. Computer technology also has been called upon to provide solutions to these modern record keeping challenges. Laboratory Information Management System, that is LIMS, and Electronic Laboratory Notebook, ELNS, are the two major types of tools that have been developed for good record keeping in the modern world. Of course, apart from that, we have cloud storage and collaboration platform. Store, access, and share research data from anywhere. Enables real-time collaboration among research teams. You have, for example, Google Drive, this you are aware of, Dropbox, OneDrive, Box, etc., often integrated with other tools of seamless workflow. So these are some of the modern ways of record keeping and record sharing. Research data management, RDM system, institutional platforms for storing and managing large data sets, help with metadata generation, access controls, data sharing, and archiving. For example, Dataverse, DMPT tool, Fairdome Hub, etc. Of course, these normally we don't use, but they are available. And they have been developed for record keeping, for data management, etc. Laboratory Information Management System, LIMS, which I mentioned just in the previous slide, manage samples, workflows, instruments, and the data in the lab. Useful in clinical, chemical, biological research environments. Track the complete life cycle of experiment and samples. So it makes the life very easy, provided the computer has not crashed because of the viruses. So LIMS is one of the most widely used system in chemical laboratories, in clinical laboratories, in biological laboratories, because it safeguards to keep the record intact and is the modern way of keeping the record keeping. Then comes digital backups and version control. Regular automatic backups to external drives or secure servers is a must. Version control system like GIT and GIT Hub for code, data, and documents is known. Track changes and recover earlier versions when needed. Mobile apps and tablets, portable tools for data entry and observation in the field or lab are also now available. Synchronize with ELNS or cloud storage. Useful for photographic documentation, GPS tagging, and voice notes. So if you are on a move and you want to still store your data, there are mobile apps and tablets available where you can do and store these things, especially GPS tagging and photographic documentation. Now, these days, it is very important to take, the photograph with its location. And that can only be done with this kind of mobile app. Data visualization and analysis. tools integration with tools like Excel, R, Python, or MATLAB for real-time data analysis and visualization. Enhances understanding and record keeping of experimental trends and outcome. Blockchain for record authentication emerging uses decentralized ledgers to ensure tamper-proof research records, especially relevant for clinical trials and patent-related documentation. Because these are highly confidential, they cannot be shared. So, record authentication and blockchain methods have been introduced for such clinical record keeping. Usefulness of record keeping. Definitely, it is useful. In the last 20 minutes, we have been talking about the usefulness of record keeping, the importance of record keeping, the methods of record keeping. When did you do it? Why you did it? How you did it? Who are you? The person creating the record. What project it was a part of? Who thought of it if not you? What special methods and instruments you use? So these questions can be answered through good record keeping. If you have done it, you have kept it in your record book or in your computational LIMS record, you have put it. You know why you have put it. You know how you have put it. And since you were the one who created the record, you know all the details. So, there is a lot of usefulness related to your own indulgence and contribution in record keeping. Where you obtain the material and the instruments, you have noted down that also. What happened and what did not happen according to data. Suppose the reaction did not take place. I gave you an example that I did a reaction 30 times in a month. And only on the 30th time, when I referred to the chemical abstract, I found that the acetylenic compound did not react. Is not supposed to be reacting, it is non-reactive. Now, that data I have noted down in my notebook, which is lying with my guide. And anybody who will now be working on any kind of acetylenic compound will at least not use that starting material, because it is well documented in my notebook that I tried 30 different conditions on 30 different days to carry out the reaction, but yet it did not work. How you manipulated and analyzed the results. Here, manipulation is not in the wrong sense. Please don't misunderstand. Here, manipulation means how you conducted the research and then analyze the results. Your interpretation and the interpretations of others, if important, is also noted down. You have discussed with your senior in the laboratory and he has given some valuable suggestion. Try this way. If it is not working this way, maybe a better option is that you change the solvent. And when you tried to change the solvent, it did work. So it's a very valuable input which you should note it down. What will be the next step in the project based on these results? So you can even write what is your expectation out of a reaction. It may or may not happen that way, but at least writing it down at least gives a direction that you are at least thinking of the reaction mechanism in the right manner. Record keeping should be written in legible handwriting and recorded using reliable materials and tools, should be well organized, well labeled index catalog. That means over a period of 3 years of time, you have actually made 7 different registers, logbooks. So number them properly, are accurate and complete. They include one, all original data and important study details, that is the metadata. And secondly, successful and unsuccessful studies both should be mentioned. Describe the date, all alterations and changes in record. Do not overwrite, do not cut. If you have to cut also, just put a straight line. If you have written something by mistake and the condition was different, don't scratch too much, don't make it a dirty notebook, but just scratch one line and write it just below that in clear words. Because this record keeping has to be very, clean book. Anybody turning that page can access, read, understand, and repeat. Why should we do so? Allow repetition of your procedures and studies by yourself and others. Accessible to others, both short-term and long-term. Stored and backed up properly for the short and long-term, that is archiving. Witnessed where needed to protect the intellectual property rights. In compliance with departmental, institutional, and federal regulatory requirements, with special care given to human and animal research, and the research diaries of the researchers' work and thoughts. So during the literature reading, you got an idea. I can do this also. You may tend to forget. So you can note it down then and there, and you can actually refer to it at a later stage, and that research will be can be done because you got that idea. Many times when we read research papers and we find a gap, then you feel that, oh, this can be also done. Nobody has attempted that. And that flash of thought comes and goes away. But if you note it down at a later stage when you are a little free, you can do that reaction, you can do those experiments and check it for yourself, what is the outcome. So it helps in many ways. Guides role: set standards for record keeping practices for individuals in their group in areas such as research studies, activities within the group, handwritten and electronic notes, data and other documentation. Labeling and cataloging of experimental samples, tangible products of research, communications and collaborating researchers such as letters, emails, minutes of the meeting, face-to-face or teleconferences, etc. So everything has to be noted down and very well practiced. A good record keeping practices in research is mainly for consistency and completeness record. Everything includes methods, procedures, calculations, observations, changes, and unexpected events. Avoid gaps, avoid even negative results or failed experiment. Use consistent units like symbol, formats, or terminology throughout. Real-time record data immediately after performing a procedure or making an observation. Avoid relying on memory, which can lead to error or omissions. Include timestamps and dates to maintain the chronological log. Legibility and clarity. Whether digital or handwritten record should be easy to read, and interpret. Avoid ambiguous abbreviation unless defined. Organize content logically by date, experiment number, or objective. Use of permanent record. Use ink, not pencil, in physical lab notes to prevent erasure. For digital records, use tools that maintain audit trails and prevent unauthorized editing, that is ELS. Avoid sticky notes, loose papers, or temporary files as primary records. Labeling, proper labeling. Clearly label all samples, files, images, graphs, and figures. Include essential metadata, date, time, condition, instrument setting, and username. Use version numbers when files or procedures are updated. Error handling and correction. Do not erase or delete errors. Strike through with a single line. Just now I told you that. And annotate corrections with date and initials. In digital format, use built-in version history or track changes features. Explain the reason for any correction, because that is very important. You have to justify why you have made those corrections. Secure and organized storage. Keep records in a secure, fire and water resistant location, or use encrypted digital backups. Organize data systematically in labeled folders, digital or physical. Backup regularly. Use multiple storage locations, that is local as well as cloud, so that you have a backup. Accessibility and sharing. Ensure team members can access relevant records when needed. Maintain shared folders with clear access controls. Keep logs of data sharing, especially for sensitive and confidential data. Ethical and legal compliance. Comply with institutional and funding agency guidelines, GLP, GCP, GDPR. Obtain informed consent for human data and document it carefully. Maintain confidentiality for sensitive data and use anonymization where necessary. Then we come to summary of best practices in research. The practice, if we do timely, record data as it happens. Complete includes all steps, observations, and decisions. Accurate, avoid assumptions or editing raw data. Organized, use structured folders, labels, and naming conventions. Secure, protect records from loss, damage, or tampering. Accessible, make data available to authorized collaborators. And compliant, follow all relevant regulations and institutional policies. So these are some of the best practices which help in record keeping and data management. Best practices for a researcher. Being a successful and ethical researcher involves more than conducting experiments or collecting data. It requires a comprehensive approach that integrates planning, execution, integrity, collaboration, and communication. Below are some of the best practices every researcher should follow. Maintain research integrity and ethics. Adhere to ethical standards, informed consent, animal welfare, no data fabrication or plagiarism, respect intellectual property and give proper credit. Follow Institutional Review Board, that is IRB, or Ethics Committee guidelines. Second, develop a clear research plan. Define specific research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. Prepare a detailed methodology. Create a data management plan, which is DMP, outlining data collection, storage, sharing, and preservation. Third, keep accurate and complete records. Use lab notes or electronic lab notes, that is ELNS. Record all procedures, observations, and changes in real time. Maintain version control and ensure data traceability. Use reproducible and transparent methods. Share raw data, code, and protocol wherever possible. Document software version, instruments, and settings. Allow others to replicate or validate your results. Practice good time and project management. Set realistic goals and timelines. Use tools like Gantt chart, Project Tracker, Trello, Asana, or calendars. Regularly review and adjust your research plan accordingly. Best practices for a researcher also include collaborate and communicate effectively. Maintain open, respectful communication with supervisors, peers, and collaborators. Share updates, data, and authorship agreement clearly and as early as possible. Be open to interdisciplinary collaboration. Seventh point, stay updated and continue learning. Read current literature regularly, attend seminars, webinars, and conferences. Learn new tools, software, or techniques relevant to your field. There is no limit to learning. Every day, every person can learn new things, and many new things are coming up. So, it is always advisable for researchers to be updated. Like at our time, the LIMS did not exist. But when it came into existence in my students' time, I also learned it, because it is always better to be in the modern time than to live in the olden times and do old practices, because these modern techniques help us or have been developed to facilitate us, and therefore we should utilize them. Prioritize data management and security. Organize data systematically with appropriate labeling and metadata. Back up data regularly, that is cloud as well as local. Secure confidential or sensitive data with encryption and access controls. So that not everybody can access. It is not necessary for everybody to know. Suppose there is another laboratory next to you where they are also doing similar type of thing. So it should not be accessible to them. Your data is your work in your laboratory and should be safeguarded in your system. Best practices for a researcher. The ninth point is publish in peer-reviewed journals and present at conferences. Use visuals, plain language, and logical structure in presentations and papers. Engage in science communication and outreach if possible. 10th point, reflect and improve. Be open to feedback and peer review. Acknowledge mistakes and learn from them. Periodically evaluate your research practices and make improvements. And I will give you an example that many a times, one student works in a better manner than the other one. It is always good to tell the one who is not doing properly to actually just observe the one who is doing correctly without hurting anybody's feeling, without making anybody inferior or superior. It is through observation we learn a lot of things and we learn good things. Therefore, there is no harm in learning. Maybe a junior is working more meticulously than you are. So, there is no harm in learning the way he is conducting his research, and you can also follow the same system. Best practices for a researcher: ethically follow guidelines, avoid misconduct, planning wise, clear goals, protocols, DMP, documentation, accurate, real time, traceable, reproducibility, transparent methods, share data code, reproducibility is already covered, time management, structured schedules and reviews, collaboration, communicate and share responsibilities, learning, stay updated with new knowledge, data handling, secure, organize and backup, communication, publish and present effectively, self-improvement, reflect and adapt continually. So it is not that this is my practice, I will keep on doing like this, I will not make any improvement. That should not be the spirit. The spirit is that every day, am I learning something new? Am I learning something new which will help me as a researcher, which will help me to conduct myself in the lab in the best way? And if I can imbibe all good habits, then there is nothing like it. But even if I have a few shortcomings, I can overcome them by looking at others who are making good practices. So, to conclude this set of lecture, I will say that good record keeping is a cornerstone of responsible research conduct. It promotes transparency, reproducibility, and trust in scientific findings, while also supporting collaboration, innovation, and compliance with ethical and legal standards. Modern record keeping methods offer efficiency, security, transparency, accessibility. By leveraging digital tools like ELNS, cloud storage, and RMD systems, researchers can streamline documentation, promote collaboration, and ensure compliance with ethical and legal standards. Embracing these technologies strengthen the foundation of credible and reproducible science. Good record keeping is not just a routine task, but a foundation for scientific credibility, transparency, and long-term success. By maintaining detailed, accurate, and organized records, researchers ensure their work can be understood, trusted, replicated, and built upon by others. So with this, we have come to an end of this lecture. Thank you.